I'm gonna give you guys time to come into the conversation. I want to say welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. This is where we have intelligent conversations about intelligent and important Black issues that affect our community. And it's always fun. It's always serious. It's always live, and it's always interesting. And we always stimulate your thinking. And we want you to be open-minded. That's all we ask you to do is be open-minded. And so today, before I welcome everybody as they come into the live stream, I want to let you all know who my special guest is for today. It is the one and only Miss Vicki Dillard. She is a regular that comes into Dr. Boyce TV each week. And also she is a very, very, very popular video blogger, if you want to call it that, show host, whatever you want to call it, hosting the Vicki Show on FlyNewBeingQueenTV.com. And I want to ask my friend Vicki, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, Dr. Boyce. Thank you so much. How are you?
I'm doing very well, very well. I am, this topic, I'm really interested in this topic that we're going to jump into. And well, one thing I always do on our Home for Intelligent Black People is I like to take a second and welcome everybody. And I want to say that I see Andrew, Fair is Fair, Robert, let's see, Constantine, Yuri, Roy Carter, Kareem, Dred Scott, that's a great name, Abdul, Vic, is that Vignot? I don't know how to pronounce that. It's VKNOT. I've never seen that name. William, Ricky Stone, Orinthia, Alexis, Andrew, Yolanda, John, Ted, Mia, F the Isle. I like that. That's an interesting name. And as you guys always know, the first thing we do when we get started is we do the city shout out. And then I want you to shout out your business after that. So first, let's shout out your city. Let us know what cities you're coming in from. Do the city shout out. Let me see. How you doing, Demetrius and Basir and Tommy Hill? Fair is Fair. Okay, Dallas. I see Dallas in here from Chris Martin. Gail, how you doing, Gail? David, how are you? Let me see here. What other cities do I see? I see Trinidad. Oh, nice. Carlton's in Trinidad. Dion, St. Louis, I see Arkansas, Bronx, Arizona, DeLand. I don't know what DeLand is. I don't know what DeLand, you gotta tell me what that is. Tacoma, Washington, Arizona, Bloomfield, New Jersey, Memphis, Magnolia, Arkansas, Madison, Wisconsin, Montgomery, the Gump, Charleston, South Carolina, New York, Port of Spain, Trinidad, Detroit, Farmington Hills, Michigan, Los Angeles. Let me see here. I'm gonna look over here. I'm seeing Detroit, Indianapolis, Fort Wayne, Indiana, the DMV area, Omaha, Nebraska, home of Warren Buffett. That's interesting. Atlanta, where they're making, which is really the new Black Hollywood. Detroit, Florida, Chi-Town, Nashville, the Bronx, Cali, Florida, Brooklyn, Detroit again. Let me see, Brooklyn, New York, Constantine for Congress. Okay, you're running for Congress, Constantine. Good for you. Good for you. Let me see, Alicia from St. Louis, Demetrius from Jacksonville, Andrew from Luxembourg, he's studying abroad. I see Detroit, Milwaukee, Los Angeles, Chicago, Bud in Vegas, Frisco, Texas. So a whole lot of cities in here. And thank you for shouting out your city. Now also shout out your business or your dream. So either the business that's in your books or the business that's in your brain, one of the two, because it has to start in the brain before it becomes real. Tell us about your business, list your business, and other people can see your business and know what you're into and know that you're in business. And also, just so you guys know, some of you have asked me if there was a way that people can advertise on this show. So because people kept asking about it, I went ahead and we set up a website you can go to if you want to sponsor any of these podcasts, where I will shout out your business and I will say whatever you want us to say, as long as the business is ethical and it checks out. Don't be sending me no shoddy businesses now, because I can't be repping for nothing shoddy. But if you want us to rep your business and you want to sponsor a podcast, you can go to this URL. Write it down. It's drboyceadvertising.com. That's drboyceadvertising.com. Not Dr. Boyce Watkins, just drboyceadvertising.com. So somebody type that in. So if you go to drboyceadvertising.com, there is a small fee, but you can be the sponsor of the podcast, and I will mention you right now when I'm mentioning everything else, and when I'm talking about the Black Business School and everything else that we do. Okay, so with that said, let's get started. Please hit the thumbs up button if you haven't hit the thumbs up button. Everybody hit the thumbs up button right now on the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Everybody hit the thumbs up button, please. And also share. If you're on Facebook, please share this video. That's very, very important. That really helps us. We can use your help. Now, Ms. Vicki, let me ask you about this. Bill Cosby. Now, a lot of people aren't really talking about Cosby as much because, you know, when black men or black women go to prison, the world acts like that person never existed. They just sort of pretend, I guess, like the person doesn't have a family. They never had hopes and dreams. They never had a life. They never did anything good. They should be part of the forgotten society, almost like the movie Us. I don't know if you saw the movie Us with Jordan Peele. Did you ever see that yet, Vicki?
I did not. I did not.
Yeah, well, you know, now that I'm thinking about it, you know, another analogy for us could be the prisons, because basically you had this whole society of people that were living underground, and they were living in horrible conditions, and nobody knew that they existed, and they all broke out, you know, right? And so anyway, Bill Cosby is in that space now. And by the way, kid, it's Dr. Boyce Advertising, ING. So thank you for sharing the URL, though. I appreciate that. So Vicki, you know, given that Bill Cosby's in prison, he's 81 years old. He's in prison for this whole situation that happened with this lady named Andrea Constand, where a lot of people say there was no evidence. I admit to this day I have not seen any physical proof Cosby committed the crime. I've only heard, you know, what the he said, she said was. Can you tell me, just to start with the basic right there, as we jump into these other financial issues that are affecting Cosby, you know, have you seen any proof? Have you read any articles anywhere where they talk about any evidence that Cosby committed this crime?
No, absolutely not. And in fact, Dr. Boyce, I was actually going over some old footage of his previous attorney, Ms. Presley, who was on his case during the more successful portions of some of his litigation. And one of the things that we need to keep in mind with this Andrea Constantine situation is not only was there a previous civil agreement, a multi-million-dollar civil agreement that was paid out to her prior to, but it's important for folks to understand that he is not in prison because of rape. He is in prison related to what could essentially be said to be a graze of a boob and some finger action. I don't want to get too explicit in case there are children watching, but that's pretty much the extent of this. And we can't forget the fact that she's also alleged to be a lesbian. That doesn't mean that they can't be assaulted, but I'm just making the case that with that particular situation, there's also it's also out there that her former roommate said that she had basically planned this the whole time for money, and that she was successful in getting this done. It's also said that after the alleged incident, that she had tried to contact him and was in fact in contact with him at least, I want to say up to 14 times after this alleged incident. I also want to remind folk that they can find a clip on YouTube where his previous attorney, Ms. Monique Presley, I disagree with her on so many things politically, but not on this. When she was representing him at the time, she was taken to task by several media outlets, and she did an extraordinary job in defense of him. And one of the things that has been out there about the Bill Cosby situation is that deposition that he took, where it said in the deposition he mentions pills. Well, most folk don't know, because the media has been putting out there the Quaaludes that was known during the 70s or so forth, this drug, that in the deposition, he admits to giving Ms. Constantine pills, but the pills in the deposition was not Quaaludes. It was related. It was a drug. Starts with an A. I forget the exact pronunciation of it. Sustenance. That's what it was. Sustenance. The pill is called sustenance, and it was because she was complaining of pain to the head and unable to sleep. So he gave her sustenance. That's what it's about. So they've been taking pieces from that, saying that he admits to giving her pills, which he did, but it was sustenance. And so the media has in a very devilish way crafted the story by saying pills, 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 pills. And because they know that the average person is not going to go do the homework, not going to go do the research to find out what that is, that's what that is specifically related to. Another thing I want to say very quickly, again, just to frame this and give some background, is that of all of the different folk that they claim have different types of allegations, whether it's 50 or 60, none of them were credible enough to have an indictment or a court date or trial. Keep that in mind. Not only that, in this particular case, even with Andrea Constantine, Ms. Constantine, the prosecutor in the case had campaigned in order to win his position, campaign on going after Bill Cosby if they were to elect him. So this really spoke to about all accounts that could be said to be the racist element or the white racist element of his constituency to vote for him. And so this was him keeping also a campaign pledge as well. So I want folks to keep some of these different things in mind when we're listening to this. It's not about whether you think Bill Cosby is a great guy. I certainly had issues with him in terms of his stance with Black people and him being paternalistic toward us, especially in wide open media outlets, instead of dealing with us directly, and just some disagreements on that. But he's done so much for the Black community at the same time, and we must see this for what it really is, and that is a takedown.
Everybody, I'm talking to Miss Vicki Dillard, and we are talking about Bill Cosby and the whole situation with his legal fees, as well as his legal situation in general. Cosby reportedly, according to a lot of media outlets, is losing a pretty extraordinary amount of money. He's losing over $1 million a month on legal fees and other things. And this led to us, I think, deciding that it would be good to have a conversation about what's going on with Cosby financially, some of the implications of just, how race kind of plays itself out in America. And then also really understanding as individuals and as families, what you can do to kind of protect your sons and things like that. Because, this Me Too thing is kind of hitting Black men all over the country. It's not just Bill Cosby. He just happens to be one of the most prominent, but there are lots of people, lots of men in prison right now, like Albert Wilson. His hashtag is Free Albert Wilson. Albert Wilson, who was put in prison for 12 years. He didn't even have sex with the girl, did not penetrate her. There's no evidence of any DNA other than saliva on her chest because he kissed her, and he kissed her. So she said he raped me, but but what's fascinating about this, Vicki, we know that rapists exist in all shapes and sizes. Every community has its sexual assaulters. So, we're not going to pretend like every Black man is always innocent. But
Right.
What's fascinating is that in many of these cases, the audacity of white media, that they have when it comes to how they will describe what a Black man allegedly did without giving any evidence at all. They don't feel like they have to provide any proof.
Yes.
They literally throw out, all innocent until proven guilty, gone. The necessity for evidence, probable cause, all that gone. Just, they don't feel any shame about it. There is no shame. Like CNN and Fox and NBC, ABC, or whoever else, they feel absolutely no shame whatsoever for the fact that their shoddy journalism is leading them to literally just say, well, she said he did it, so that means he must have done it. So this really comes back to, this almost sounds like something from 100, 200 years ago. This sounds like some lynching language. Lynching language is the white woman says that it happened, so the Black man needs to die, or he needs to go to prison, or he needs to be punished. So I want to ask you all this. Black people, most of you are Black. I assume most of you are Black. If you're not Black, that's okay. We don't discriminate. Just know that Black people are running the show. As long as you understand that, we can get along. But let me ask you this. Everybody, yes or no, yes or no, yes or no. Do you believe Bill Cosby should be in prison right now? Yes or no, yes or no, yes or no. I'm not going to say, do you believe Bill Cosby did something 30 years ago? I'm saying, do you believe that based on the evidence, based on what you've seen, based on what you've read, do you believe that Bill Cosby should be in prison right now? Yes or no? Yes or no? Okay, Kyle Smith says no. Let me see here. Pam says no. Houston device experts no. Professor C no. Axel, I'm white and I say so mentality. I'm white and I say so mentality. Okay, Axel said that. Okay, Andrew no. Edward Williams no. Okay, I'm seeing a whole lot of no's. Laquila says no. Sean says no. I mean, you look at this, right, and you see how many Black people. I mean, I'm just seeing no's just scrolling, and I think that's really fascinating because what it really speaks to, what it is it's a yelling, blatant reminder. It's an in-your-face reminder that when it comes to these sorts of things that are happening, that the voices of Black people are not relevant to the voices to the minds of white people.
Come on.
Literally, they do not care. Every single one of you could say, no, this doesn't make any sense. And they will not care. They won't respond to it. They won't feel like they have to answer to it. And that really, is a deeper relation in terms of reflecting how white supremacy kind of works, and why so many Black people are frustrated with white folks. It's because, on one hand, you ask us to vote for your politicians and to support you, and we support your businesses, which I don't agree with that you should do that, but we do that. We all end up giving money to a white person at some point. We work for you. We sacrifice 100,000 hours of our time and our life to go work for you. I added up how many hours a Black person spends at work working for a white man before he dies. And so you give all this to the system, and they still ignore you and treat you like a cog in a wheel. And that's what what they used to call in the American Revolution. They referred to that as taxation without representation. That means that you're paying the cost, but somebody else is the boss.
Come on.
You're the donkey, you're the horse, and they're the jockey. And they're riding you all the way to the White House. They're riding you all the way to the billionaire's mansion. They're riding you all the way to wherever they're trying to go. And I think that Black people should be aware of this. To me, that's the first step in what they call wokeness. Wokeness, to me, woke means you're aware, you're awake, you're looking around, you see what's going on. And the next step after becoming woke is to actually act. Because if you're woke and you're not acting, then you're not really woke. You're just kind of a joke, right? So the fact that we're aware of this and we do nothing about it, I think it's something that we have to really address in our community. Vicki, what do you say to that? I'm not even going to ask you a question because I'm sure you got something to say on it.
Well, I would agree, absolutely. But you mentioned a minute ago about how, folks that are in prison, those that are behind bars, which I'm all too well, that's a part of my story, know so very well. But I also call it the disappearing. It is the disappearing of a people. And a lot of times when we hear that language, we tend to read and hear such terms in context that relate to when America, for example, was basically kidnapping people internationally, globally, in order to put them in black sites so that they can extract information from them. And of course, we know that we were found to have committed all types of torture and violated a whole bunch of other, international laws and policies. But they call that the disappearing. But this is the disappearing of people right in our midst. But it's not only the disappearing of Black people, it is the muting of our voices, which you alluded to, Dr. Boyce. And you know what? And I can't help but to always interject this on a regular basis. That speaks to, again, the necessity and the importance of Black media. Again, shout out to you for your Black world. Shout out to you for the work that you've been doing for years to give voice to Black people. I say this all the time, and I think it is impossible to overemphasize the very, very, very real reality that we are at war. The war is us, and the terrain that we're on is not the type that you find in Afghanistan or Vietnam. The war is being waged on our minds. It's being waged in the media. It's being waged in our food. It's being waged scientifically. It's being waged in religion. It is being waged in areas, numerous areas of people activity. This is what we don't understand. And guess what? The media is a very big part of that. So when you, Dr. Boyce, are using your voice and also providing platforms for folk like myself to give our very Black opinion, to provide information and inspiration to our people, that is a part of our engaging in the war. We're a different type of soldier. And then to add on top of that, what makes you especially powerful and especially dangerous. And I'm not just saying this just to blow you up. I'm talking about the facts and the reality. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, whom I'm a student of, says that business is warfare. Guess what, Dr. Boyce? What do? You got the nerve to take 25 years of your experience as a professor and teaching in universities and colleges, and you being one of the few Black PhD finance, Black men with a finance degree, you utilizing that knowledge to assist Black people while working to build businesses. That makes you especially powerful, but also very dangerous, because Minister Farrakhan says that business is warfare. So we've got to understand that's why we need Black outlets, Black networks, Black media in this time so that we can effectively engage in this war and hopefully win. Hopefully win when we recognize, number one, what this is, and two, so that we can support folk that have businesses. Because guess what this is about? And I'm speaking preemptively now, and I'm gonna shut up. When we're thinking about them going after the money, the dollars of Bill Cosby, we're seeing a similar thing happen when they drain the monies. They're trying to drain the monies from Michael Jackson, even before he passed. We see a similar pattern even with R. Kelly. Let me tell you something. Why is that important? Because they are trying to affect the war chest. They're trying to affect our war chest. And I'm going to leave it at that for now.
Everybody, I'm speaking with Miss Vicki Dillard from FlyNubianQueenTV.com, and we are talking about Bill Cosby and the fact that media reports are saying that Cosby's losing as much as $1 million a month in legal fees. He is being drained financially, which I thought was really amazing, given that Cosby once had an amount of wealth that just seemed like he would never run out of money. I mean, he wasn't just set up for his life; he was set up for his children, grandchildren, great grandchildren, great 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 grandchildren. You could be 4 generations down the line from Cosby and be a millionaire or billionaire because of what he did in his lifetime. And it wasn't that Cosby was bad with money. Cosby was notorious. He was known for being extremely good with money. The people, when I would hear names of celebrities that were really good with money, the names that came up were consistently Bill Cosby and Oprah Winfrey, actually. Those were actually 2 people that were just known for watching their every penny. They didn't get into no craziness and all this other stuff. They held you accountable for what was going on with their money. And so it's not like Cosby, if he goes broke, if he goes bankrupt or whatever, he's not going to go bankrupt in the same context as you've seen with certain other people. Let me think here. Who's some of these athletes that lose everything, or you hear about celebrities. There's always a story of a Black celebrity losing everything.
50 Cent.
Right. Well, 50 Cent's up and down. He's an interesting case. 50 Cent is what I would call an enigma financially, in the sense that nobody really knows exactly how he's doing financially. He's got a lot of financial problems. He's like when Diddy used to say, "More money, more problems." Like that's 50 Cent. That's his motto, because 50 Cent is a little bit like Donald Trump, where they're not totally broke. They have access to some money, but they've also got extraordinary amounts of debt. They have a lot of bankruptcies and things like that, and just weird business dealings that they're kind of tangled up in. So they kind of have a lot of complications. But I wouldn't call him broke. But if you really want to talk about just tough, just unfortunate financial outcomes for say dead celebrities, I think about Aretha, Michael, and Prince in this way. Prince did not leave a will. I couldn't believe it. It made me very, very sad. I wish he had thought about that a little bit more. Aretha, from what I understand, did not leave a will, which is unfortunate, because she worked so many years to make so much money. So why would you not protect that for your children and grandchildren? I don't think that we talk about that enough. And then you had and then Michael's issue was more so in his lifetime, when he was the way he spent money. It was almost like when Michael died, it helped his finances a lot, because he wasn't out there spending. He wasn't spending, because that man was running through $5-10 million a month, just buying all kinds of stuff. But the challenge for Michael, though, is that they're doing a Bill Cosby with him too. They're basically, pinning these accusations on him. And, and the thing is, with these accusations in civil court, you don't need a preponderance of evidence in order for you to lose the case. You just need, it is a preponderance. I'm sorry. You don't need beyond a reasonable doubt. You just need a preponderance of the evidence, right? Which means that, if there's a 52% chance that you did it, then they're going to come and take, $10 million from you, et cetera. And I think that's going to be an interesting thing. So I think it kind of speaks to this idea that because the system is so biased, when you do have these Black men and Black people that accumulate massive amounts of wealth, like a Bill Cosby becomes, to me, like a walking, talking version of a Black Wall Street. Right? And if you remember how Black Wall Street lost everything, because or what? A white woman made an accusation that a black man bumped up against her in the elevator, and they use that as an excuse to go take all their wealth and burn their whole city down, loot their houses, run through their businesses, shoot black men and black women in the street, run everybody out of town, take their land, take their property, etc. They probably owe, if they really had to pay reparations for that, it would be close to $1 trillion if you add in all the compound interest from all those years. And so with Bill Cosby, that's what I see. It's like, okay, we got a white woman who will make an accusation. We're going to act like it's true because the white woman said it, and that's going to be our excuse to go through. Prison is it's just one of his worries. He's also got all these people lined up. I'm talking about a long line of people, just trying to say, how can I get a piece of that money? How can I get access to his wealth? Now, before I ask the next question, I want to ask everybody, please hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. I'm talking to Miss Vicki Dillard from FlyNewBeingQueenTV.com. We're talking about Bill Cosby and all the millions of dollars that he's losing every month as a result of legal fees. So, Vicki, I want to ask you about this. It actually scratched that. I'm not going to ask you a question. I said a lot. Did you have something you wanted to say in response to what I just said?
Oh, no, just totally in agreement. Go ahead. No.
Okay, because sometimes I'll do that. I'll say a whole lot, and my guests will have something to say, and then I'll go to the next question. I'll be like, no, I want to address that thing right there. I'm trying to be more sensitive to that. Just in case y'all know, I'm not no real journalist or no real talk show.
Oh, you're great.
I'm just a black man doing his best. That's all I am. Okay, so in Atlanta Black Star, there was a report where they stated that Cosby's been comparing himself to a political prisoner. He's speaking on the judge. He has a real issue with the judge. He says that the trial judge is a racist who aims to destroy any black man. In September 2018, the disgraced comedian was sentenced to 3 to 10 years for drugging and sexually assaulting a woman named Andrea Constand, who worked at Cosby's Temple University alma mater as the director of operations for the women's basketball team. On Wednesday, the same day, Cosby's appellate lawyer said they filed an application so he'd be released while awaiting appeal. The 81-year-old sent a statement through his spokesperson and called Stephen O'Neill, the judge who sentenced him, an overt racist. Cosby also said the judge refuses to follow Pennsylvania state law 1925A, which requires him to give the reason he sentenced him for 3 to 10 years in a maximum security prison. Now, if that's true, that's fascinating, right? That he doesn't even feel, this goes back to what I was talking about, that audacity thing, where folks have the audacity to just say, we just want to send that Negro to prison, and they don't really say why. They don't really present evidence. Like I dare everybody, I want you to challenge me on this. Please challenge me. I want you all to go and read up on the case of Albert Wilson in Kansas. And I want you to do just one thing. Here's what I want you to do. This is my challenge to all of y'all. I want you to find one line in one article with one piece of physical evidence that he committed that crime. Find me one line in one article with one piece of evidence. Not what the judge said, not what the jury said, not what they decided to do. I want you to find one thing, and I bet you won't be able to find nothing. And I know that because I was looking through the articles and I was reading, and I'm astonished. I'm not a stupid person. I mean, I have several master's degrees and PhDs and all that stuff, so I know how to read. And they taught us how to read and write. And I'm reading carefully, and I'm looking at every word, every line, and I'm seeing nothing that's proven this young man committed this crime. And I think that Black people, I'm talking a little slower on this because I want everybody to reflect for a moment on what this means, what kind of danger your son is in this world. If you have a son, a husband, a brother, a father, think about this. You're living through an era that can be compared almost to Nazi Germany in 1942. The persecution has no limits. So anyway, with that said, so it looks like Cosby also says that he wants O'Neill removed from the case, which is something his lawyers tried to do. And he says, quote, "The judge took an oath, I believe, to be fair and impartial, which grants him the authority to perform all the duties detailed in the Constitution," said Cosby. "His dishonorable conduct makes me smile because this judge is being exposed, and it shows that this is bigger than me. Yeah. O'Neill now has his formula, tried, true, and tested to destroy any Black man and or any colored man in America." Now, I want to ask you this, Vicki. Do you think, and you can feel free to respond to anything else I said as well, because I said a lot here, but do you think that there are those who will have an issue with the fact that Cosby is leaning toward, what some might call the black man card, when he did have those years where people felt that he was talking down on the black community and sort of saying to black people who were shot in the back by police. Remember, he made the thing about the pound cake and the boy getting shot over the pound cake, right? Which I admit I had an issue with that too. But do you think that there are people that look at this and say, oh, okay, so now that you're going through it, now you understand racism. Now you're suddenly sensitive. Now you're suddenly missed to fight the power. Whereas I wonder if a man like Cosby, or if another man was going through what Cosby's going through now, if he would have been as sensitive as he's asking people to be for him right now. What do you think?
I think it's actually some truth to folks saying that he seemed to have talked down to Black people, and now that he's in this particular situation, folks would love to say the race card, which I hate to even use the word race card because it's not a game, which that's what it intends to infer. It's a very real and diabolical reality that we live, which is racism. However, that still does not relieve the enemy, the open oppressor, from what he is doing and attempting to do by using Dr. Bill Cosby for their pernicious purposes. It does not relieve them of, well, let me say this way, the effects of what they're able to do with him, and not just with his own personal finances, for their own greedy reasons that they're trying to just, they're acting as predators now, economic predators against him with this, but what he represents to Black people in general. Trust and believe they were very aware of his reputation amongst Black people, and especially woke Black people. They were very aware of some of the criticisms that we have and had about Dr. Bill Cosby. And I believe they use those things for their own purposes because they know how we felt. They know that we were taken aback by some of his comments. And sometimes that makes some of us less sympathetic, less empathetic. And so when they're doing all kinds of unjust things to him, we are not paying enough attention because we're still upset with him about something else that he said that has its effect, but it pales in comparison to the larger overarching agenda that's happening by their hands using him. So it is some criticism, but let's deal with it in house. Let's say, okay, fine, but it does not negate the fact that he's dealing with some very serious injustices that are racist in nature. And we know the effects of racism. We know the power of racism, and we can criticize him, but that's like a minor compared to a felony, right? Misdemeanor compared to a felony, right? Yeah, what they're doing is a felony. So let's deal with, you know what I'm saying? That's a felony. So let's deal with that.
Well, everybody who's watching, actually, because I told you that we're in a state of emergency for Black men, we actually have an organization for Black men where we're trying to unify brothers from around the world to fight on our behalf, to stand up for our issues, and to create our voice, but at the same time to train each other and protect each other on principles of manhood. There are codes of conduct. Every military, every team, every organized unit must have a code of conduct. So we actually lay that out. If you're interested in joining, if you are a solid guy and you want to be a part of this, or you want to be a solid guy, or you want to be around solid men, go to blackmenunited.net. That's blackmenunited.net. Andre C. Hatchett is the co-founder, and that's our organization. Because one thing I realized, Vicki, is that we don't have enough organization around Black men and protecting Black men. I mean, we've got the Nation of Islam, which is extraordinarily good at this. But I think that we can also do other things in addition to provide backup. That's what it is. It's all about providing backup. Now, what I was thinking about also too, Vicki, is, that it's so interesting that, when you talk about Cosby and Michael Jackson and then you had R. Kelly and whatever it is that he did or didn't do and stuff like that, and the Black man kind of being the face of predatory behavior. I see that Joe Biden just announced that he's running for president. And I don't know if have y'all, yes or no, has anybody been following any of the stories of Biden and his behavior? Has anybody been following that? Yes or no? Let me know if you've seen any of these stories. So Joe Biden, you know, I'm gonna tell you how it got started with me, Vicki. I started seeing these stories, you know, about Biden, you know, and they seem, you know, like they seem like a lot of BS at first, you know, like, oh, Joe hugged the lady for 2 seconds instead of one, you know, or he put his arm around her and she wasn't happy and because she thought that he blew on her hair, you know, it seemed like that. But then I went and I saw this video on YouTube. Y'all should go check it out. And it's called Creepy Uncle Joe. Have you seen that video, Vicki?
No, but I've saw little clips and I've been doing other coverage and it's disturbing.
Woo! After y'all get done here, I want you to go find a video called Creepy Uncle Joe. Somebody can put the link in there if you want to.
No.
That Creepy Uncle Joe video, what that Creepy Uncle Joe video did, and whether it's right or wrong, who knows? I don't know this man's personal life, but it made him look like a pedophile. It made him look like, you know, like that grandparent you just don't want to leave your children with. You know, and I find that really interesting because it kind of coincides with a lot of really interesting stories I've heard about things that are happening in an organized fashion amongst them and their community, right? That's involving the harming of children, not in one-off scenarios, but on a systematic level.
Yes.
Almost like a secret religion or something. Yes. You know, like you know, you see every now and then you'll see people, like you'll see that actor Corey, what's his face, Corey Feldman, I think is his name, who came in the documentary. I think it's called An Open Secret or something, where he was talking about the big pedophile rings they have in Hollywood. Of course, you got the Catholic Church, which is massive. Now they're talking about the Boy Scouts, allegedly.
Yes. Oh, my goodness.
Thousands of children. I mean, can't even send your kids to the Boy Scouts. You know, and there was, remember, they had the whole debate in the Boy Scouts about whether they would let Scoutmasters be gay and things like that. And I don't have nothing against men who are gay, but I wouldn't want my son around somebody who could potentially want to have sex with him. You know, it's like, it's not to say that I think that because he's gay, he would do that, but because I'm thinking that these people, these men, grown men, because at the time, you know, Boy Scouts were managed by grown men, right? So if Boy Scouts were being molested, these were gay pedophiles.
Right.
Not when I said these were not heterosexual pedophiles. So there is apparently, according to these attorneys, a massive, not one-off, a massive systematic infiltration of pedophiles into the Boy Scouts. And if it's true in the Boy Scouts, you know, it's probably true in a lot of different other areas. And so even Bill Clinton's was linked to some guy who used to, you know, the billionaire who's now a registered sex offender who had all the little thing. And you know, and so it's almost like you feel like it's like a pot where the water, where it's bubbling and you feel like something's just gonna blow off of the pot. Where you know, where it's like with the white man's dirt, it's like he hides it so well and the media won't report on it, and they'll just literally do like a police officer, you know, no, nothing to see here, folks.
That's right.
Literally, you know, you bring it up a million times, they just act like they didn't even hear you.
Right.
And I'm telling you, I think that it's fascinating that they still, to this day, again, this is some Emmett Till type stuff, they still will make the black man the face of sexually predatory behavior when you have extensive evidence that there are systematic violations of children occurring on a mass scale in the white male gay community.
Absolutely. And it's serious. These are very serious and egregious behaviors and acts. Many of these things are allegations, but they are these are credible allegations, but many of these are not only allegations, these are things that some of them actually have been convicted of. These are things that have been captured on camera. These are things that we can draw very righteous and proper and logical conclusions to right now. The same with the President of the United States. They call him for some reason, Individual One, that man who's occupying 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. We can put aside, if you would, his more than a dozen accusers. We can just take his word for it, Dr. Boyce. He told us on audio video before he became president of the United States that he comes upon a woman like a bee, ITCH, grabs her, by her private part, but he used the vulgar term. He told us this. Before that, his first wife, she said in a legal deposition, Dr. Boyce, that means under oath, she said he raped her. And after a while, they tried to get her to kind of backtrack a little bit, but this was his first wife that said that. We can still put that to the side, but let's take his word for it, right? But America rewards their predators. Why? Because they have a common interest, which is white rule, white rule. And it is spoken explicitly and it is understood subconsciously, and they are on code. And so whether it is Brett Kavanaugh, there were allegations about him in high school and some other things, whether you believe the lady that lodged those allegations against him, let's put even that to the side. We've got other things that prove he was a liar because he also worked with the Bush administration related to torture and Guantanamo Bay and all of that kind of stuff where they were able to prove it. And even the Republicans refused to even allow him to be nominated for federal bench long before his ascendancy to the Supreme Court. He had to wait at least 3 years before they were even willing to allow his nomination to go through for a federal bench because he was such a provable liar. But America rewards her predators and she rewards her killers in the name of John McCain. She rewards them. And so this is what we are seeing. This is what we see happening in white America. We also know it has to do with what? Their fear of genetic annihilations. Get Dr. Francis Cress Welsing's book, the great late Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, that beautiful, beautiful scholar who broke down to us and was able to show us that this is the fear of racists, of those that classify themselves as white, is how she would word it. Their fear of genetic annihilation. We are seeing now through numerous demographers and statisticians that the white numbers birth rates are decreasing. Their numbers of birth rates are decreasing. Their death rates are increasing. There is a fear. This is the reason why, Dr. Boyce, they are going into overdrive with gerrymandering, which is to say that they use legalities, they use laws in order to have an electoral advantage over you. That's why they are redlining, which is to say they discriminate against you so that you're unable to purchase certain homes, or you're getting the worst type of loans, even though your scores, your credit scores might be equal to or superior to your white counterparts. Why are they doing this? Because they are grabbing hold to the levels of power as long as they can, because they see very clearly what's coming. And that's a changing of the guards. And they fear that. And this, I'm afraid, is a part of it.
Well, you know what I'll say, Vicki, is you know, when I heard what you were saying, and you mentioned Kavanaugh and Trump, here's what's interesting to me. When the Kavanaugh-Trump situations went down, we had no problem getting the media to talk about the fact that they might be sexual predators. Mm-hmm. The media discussed it. They all ad nauseum, you know, because the media doesn't like Trump. Trump doesn't like them, and they go back and forth. And that's white. Those are white people problems. I don't really care that much about that. But if Trump had been a Democrat, they wouldn't have covered it. If Trump had been a gay Democrat,
come on,
they would have left it alone.
Come on.
And so what I am bothered by is that their narrative on predatory behavior, as it's fed to us and to the American public, is, oh yeah, there are predators out here, but they're all these heterosexuals in the Republican Party that are doing it. Gay people don't do that stuff, right? Oh yeah, there are predators, but none of them are in the Democratic Party. We don't do that kind of stuff. And I'm sitting there saying, no, y'all all in the same fraternity as far as I'm concerned. There's reasons why Donald Trump appeared in numerous photos with lots of leading Democrats, back before the politics all came into play. They all go to the same schools and spend time in the same clubs, and
that's right.
Everything else, right? So to me, what's fascinating is how you really don't see. I mean, I can't think there is no prominent gay person who's been held accountable for predatory behavior towards children, even though every now and then somebody will come out and they'll let the cat out the bag.
Yes.
You know, like that one guy they banned. I think they banned him from Twitter. Maya Yiannopoulos or something, and he was a Republican.
Oh yes, yes.
He was a conservative, but he was gay, and he made a little slick remark about, you know, the joys of sleeping with a 13-year-old or something. And they were all like, oh no, he doesn't represent us. He's not one of us. He's not one. They move real quick to push him to the side. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. I talk to a lot of people, you know, and when I talk to a lot of people, you know, in the LGBT community, there's an endless supply of young people who will say, yeah, the first time I had sex, I was 12 and he was 40, you know, or whatever. Oh, Ed Buck, you know, had those 2 black men that died in his house.
Dead.
You know, so it's not to say, it's not a matter of pinning predatory behavior on any group of people. It's not. I think it would be ignorant to say, oh, well, all white people are predators, or all white males are predators, or all gay people are predators. That would be silly. What I'm saying is that I don't understand that when we have conversations about predatory behavior, we always talking about the black man, and particularly the black heterosexual man.
Right.
But you don't hear anything about the white man. You don't hear hardly anything about the gay man. You don't hear anything about the white gay man, the black gay man, none of that. Right. And also the other thing too is that you don't have enough conversation about, and this is why I tell you guys, this is the place for intelligent black conversations, because I do all the analysis. I know that 2 + 2 is 4. I can do, like Dr. Wesley says, do the math.
Okay.
The other piece on that is, you know, and this is a whole nother conversation. We don't talk about the predatory behavior of Becky.
Come on. Oh my gosh. Dr.
Right,
Boyce.
right. Like those poor black men who were football players at Sacred Heart University a few months ago. And this white girl who decided that she wanted to, you know, get down however she gets down. I'm not even judging that. She goes in the bathroom, has sex with both of them. And then and tell me how many times you heard this story. Her white boyfriend or guy that she likes finds out that she slept with 2 black men in the bathroom at the same time. So of course he's looking at her like, oh, you's a hoe. You know, like I don't want to date you. You a hoe. So to protect her reputation,
right,
just like Becky did 200 years ago.
Come on, Doc.
To protect her reputation, she says, oh no, I was raped. And ruins these young men's lives. And I want you to really follow. I need you all to follow me down the stream of consciousness here. This ain't about one incident. This is several chains of events. So what happens then? She goes into the school and says he raped me, or they raped me. The school doesn't investigate. The school goes and immediately boots those young men out of school.
Come on.
Immediately ruins their whole reputation. They losing friends and everything else because they're now labeled as rapists. And I don't know how they found out that this girl lied, but they eventually did. And the thing is, she's going to prison, but she's not getting nearly as much time in prison as they would have got if her lie had stuck. Now, I need y'all to understand that this is probably 1 in 1,000 times where the lie gets unveiled. Most people who tell a lie like that could get them sent to prison are not going to fess up. You know, I don't know. Tell me yes or no, yes or no, yes or no. If you told a lie and you knew that fessing up on that lie was going to get you sent to prison away from your family for the next several years, would you, how many of y'all, for real, tell me the truth, how many of y'all would go and volunteer to the police to say, oh, you know, I made it all up, it wasn't true? I'm sorry, I'll just say, Vicki, I don't think a lot of people will do that. So my point is to say that you got to look not just at what's there on the surface, look beneath the surface at what is not there. Look at what you don't see. What you don't see is all the other cases where Becky lied.
Come on.
Situation. You know, I don't want Chad to know that I like the black man and all his special body parts, right? She don't want Chad to know, so she goes and makes a lie. And it might not, it could be Chad the boyfriend, or it could be the daddy. Chad or dad, one of the two. You're judging me because I've seen cases where white men will say that. They'll say, we won't sleep with a woman if she's been with a black man. There's a lot of white boys who say that, and I honestly think it's because they're intimidated by us. I think that they see how dominant we are, and they know that once you go black, you don't go back.
Okay.
And so basically, they're like, "Oh, you're tainted," right? Vicki, what do you say to that?
I do. I absolutely agree, and this should be a warning, also for our brothers. Remind me, Dr. Boyce. I'm forgetting his name. What is our brother? You covered him as well some time back too. Cephas.
Quentin Cephas.
Thank you.
Quintez Cephas.
Cephas. Thank you.
At University of Wisconsin football player. He's still going through his trial when the two white girls invited him for a threesome and then said, oh, well, he raped me because we drank liquor that night. And that means that we couldn't consent. We're not responsible for what we chose to do. So now they're trying to ruin his life and send him to prison too.
Absolutely. And I'm bringing that up because I'm trying to give our audience two right now cases that you refer to. We're not just talking about Emmett Till. Those are important cases for us to talk about history to give us context, but we're trying to bring it home to you right now, the very real danger that Black men find themselves in. And right now, Quintez Cephas, the last I had checked when I was doing some research on him, was he was already supposed to have had his trial, but that in February, some more evidence had come out. And so it was just this past February, and that it was postponed because of the evidence that was brought out the last minute, and hopefully he'll be able to use whatever that is for his benefit. But they were thankfully able to find out what's what on there. Oh, great. You got the article right here. Awesome. Awesome. Late arriving evidence delays trial. Perfect for ex-Badgers receiver Quintez Cephas. And again, that's so powerful. Thank you for that. And then again, the brother you just mentioned before, our brother Albert Wilson. Again, in that particular case, and I want to tell us a couple of more things related to that case that not everybody knows. This, you broke this on your Black channel, Your Black World, Dr. Boyce. You provided me some of the information too that mainstream media is not talking about in Albert Wilson's case. And that is what? Mainstream media didn't tell us that the prosecutor in the case had already had other cases overturned before because of malfeasance from the prosecutor, and some of them specifically related to sex cases. We were not told that a preliminary hearing took place with our brother Albert Wilson before they went to trial. And they had the witness on the stand and specifically asked, was she forced? And she said no. They took a break. They took a recess, modified the charges so that it would not say forced. Many folks don't recognize that those things had taken place, and it's going on. Many of them don't know that there was some disagreement with the jurors, and one of them later said that they felt pressure. At least one of them said that they were pressured into the decisions that they made, but that even the defense attorney even tried to get the trial ended at that point based on one of the jurors, not agreeing to initially, I guess, agreeing. Most folk don't know some of these details. And again, that was broken on Your Black World as well as my show after you provided me some of that information. So our brothers need to be very careful and very clear. And I know, Dr. Boyce, we're not, as you said before, we're not saying that all white people do, have sexual deviant behaviors, but I'm going to say this, a large number of them do. And that the profile for the offenders, both male and female, as you just pointed out, it's overwhelming. They are overwhelmingly the offenders in this case. And they have a historical pattern of this, which I often talk about on my show. By the way, you can get some of that information that I'm talking about from the book, Understanding the Assault on the Black Man, Black Manhood, and Black Masculinity, where Dr. Wesley Muhammad gives the details, gives the receipts on the global project that was specifically done and the history of using sex, homosexuality, sodomy, and other such things as a part of domination over and against Black people in general. So my point is not, again, we see that some Black folks have taken on some of the behaviors of those to whom we are oppressed by, and we deal with them, and we need to deal with them, and we need to hold them accountable. But I'm making the point that our numbers pales in comparison to the very consistent profile of the offender, and that typically is a middle-aged white man in many of these cases. That's just a fact.
Well, everybody, I'm talking to Ms. Vicki Dillard, and we're talking about a lot of things, but we started off talking about Bill Cosby and the fact that he's right now losing $1 million a month on his legal fees for his situation. And it's really unfortunate because it's kind of a public financial castration. And if you read books like Black Labor, White Wealth, and you find—
I like the way you said that. I like the way you said that, the financial castration.
Yeah, and it's not. This is a pattern. I mean, this has been happening for hundreds of years. You know, whenever they saw a black man in a way that did not make them happy, either he had something they wanted, or they thought he was a criminal, or both. In the case of Cosby, they wouldn't just. The goal was not just to punish him. The goal was to humiliate him, to emasculate him. They would remove his genitals. They would do things that went above and beyond. They kind of showed a desire to completely demolish and to destroy him. And they would do it publicly. They did it publicly to remind you, in a metaphysical way, in a psychological way, that they're in charge, that they're the boss. Everybody who's watching, please hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please do that. I'm speaking with Ms. Vicki Dillard. If you want to follow Vicki, you can go to Vicki Dillard. Just look up Vicki Dillard on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. She's always into something interesting. She's always doing amazing stuff. Her show is every night, Monday through Friday, at flynubianqueentv.com at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. flynubianqueentv.com, which is a voice for women, which is where a lot of sisters go live on that platform and do their thing. And also, I want to remind everybody, if you did want to advertise on this channel, you can actually sponsor a podcast if you want to by going to drboyceadvertising.com. That's drboyceadvertising.com. Or if you want something for your kids to do this summer, our financial workbooks, they were sold out, but we got some back in stock. And so if you want to take a look at our financial workbooks for children, I'm really proud of these, Vicki. We spent a lot of time on this. It was a really difficult project. We had experts together. In fact, it was so difficult. Tell you how difficult it was. Once we completed the first round, we actually had to go back and do it again because my team went through it and we didn't like it. We didn't feel that the people we hired had done the job that we needed. So we went back and spent another year and a half redoing the workbooks. And we wanted to cover every grade band because the thing is, I can't go telling Black folks to educate their own kids if we're not creating tools unique and specific to our children to allow them to learn what they need to learn. So this is just me upholding to the standard and me staying on code and doing the things that I promised I would do. Things I'm asking people to do. So I can't give a mandate without giving you the support to get it done. So if you want to take a look at the flashcards or the workbooks, you can go to financialworkbooks.com. That's financialworkbooks.com. Summertime is a great time to put your kids ahead for the next 50 years of their life. It will make a big difference for them. I promise you. I wish I'd had a parent that did this for me when I was 7 or 8 years old. I would have had a whole different career path, Vicki. I never would have worked. I never would have worked for anybody. I would have been in a much better financial position in my 20s. Also, I think that, one thing I was thinking about was it's really not that hard to set your kids up and your grandkids up for the next generation. Basically, if you just get a life insurance policy, just take the amount of money you will spend on a car note, cut that amount in half, and just say, I'm going to put this much money toward a life insurance policy. It would depend on how much life insurance you can get. That right there will give your children enough of a nest egg where they could actually get started with a good life, maybe put a down payment on a house, etc. Another thing that came to mind was I said to everyone, go buy, over the next year or two, however long it takes you, buy 2 to 5 shares of 25 different stocks. Just get like a Acorn, Stash, or Robinhood and buy 2 to 5 shares of 25 different stocks, and then don't do anything after that. Just promise yourself, I'm never going to sell this. I'm just going to own it and leave it there and put it in the will and let it grow. And what will happen is that money and assets grow the way flowers grow, the way, like a tree grows in your backyard. If you just leave it alone and just, maybe water it every now and then or whatever you got to do, it's going to grow, but you need time. And money grows with time. But if you do not plant the seeds, then you do not get any growth. So the number one reason that Black people, that our wealth is actually going backward is because many of us are not trained at all to plant any seeds. So ask yourself a big question, like what seeds am I planting now that are going to have a payoff 30 years from now? And if you can't answer the question, don't be ashamed, just do something about it. That's what's going to make the difference between you and everybody who's watching versus all the people who are just living day to day. They gonna live day to day, and then they're gonna get old and they're gonna die, and then their children gonna live day to day because that's all they were taught by their parents. If you teach your kids different, you're gonna get different. I can promise you that much.
That's awesome.
So Vicki, let me ask you this last question. So in terms of this financial castration of Bill Cosby, where he's losing $1 million a month on these legal fees, and we've got lawsuits everywhere and everything else, all these people kind of lining up trying to get his money. What do you think about this? I was thinking about also this really kind of speaks to the fact that when you have something to lose, whether it's money or just something valuable. It could be something like, it could be as basic as your body, etc. Whenever you have this valuable and you don't want predators to take it away from you, I think that you probably have to be very careful about who you're around, who you do business with, who you allow into your life,
Yes.
Who your friends are. And one common factor that you see amongst Black men that go through public lynchings, like I'm thinking about Bill Cosby, O.J. Simpson, maybe to some extent with Michael Jackson. One commonality that I noticed, Tiger Woods went through it a little bit when his wife tried to murder him with a golf club.
Oh my gosh, she did.
Yeah, for some reason he's apologizing, and I'm sitting there laughing.
And she didn't get no charges were brought.
Right. And I was screaming and I said, wait a minute, if he had tried to go upside her head with a golf club, he would be in prison right now. He wouldn't have been winning no Masters. He'd be winning the penitentiary Masters. That's what he would be winning.
Exactly.
He'd be playing golf with whatever golf tournament they got in the prison yard.
That's right.
All he was playing. And so to me, one common factor I noticed, with these Black men that go through these public lynchings, even to some extent, I dare say Albert Wilson, even though Albert is a young man, he's not the same as OJ and Cosby and all those other people, is that, they were hanging out with Becky.
Come on.
And I don't want to be a person that's going to go out here and say, oh, you're an idiot if you have white friends or if you sleep with a white woman. I don't care who people sleep with. I really don't. It ain't my business. But, it's just dangerous.
Yes.
This society is dangerous. And if you got something to lose, and you are bringing people into your life, like women that you don't even know, they could have mental disorders. There are cases, even, believe it or not, even in Mike Tyson's case, go look this up. There was a thorough investigation done with Mike Tyson's case, where now Desiree was not a white woman now, but Desiree, she had mental illness. Her ex-boyfriend came out and he tried his best to tell the judges and the juries. He said, she did the same thing to me. She accused me of rape. And we had sex and she felt so guilty because she was scared that her father was going to find out that she said that I raped her. So he tried to tell the judges and tried to tell the juries and they didn't listen. They didn't admit it into court, which I don't understand why. But the point is, it's like you're in this delicate situation where all it takes is one crazy woman to ruin your life.
That's right.
All it takes is one crazy liar to ruin your life. All it takes is for one crazy, vindictive, lying-ass person to say, "Oh, he raped me. Yeah, Your Honor, he did it." Right? I don't got no proof, but I'm telling y'all, he did it.
Right?
And you're done. You're fried. Reputation's gone. You kicked out of school, lose all your money, and you're going to prison. And you're gonna get raped 100 times in prison unless you can fight off the rapist. So
God.
What do you say to that in terms of, us almost like a public policy statement? Just, like letting people, a PSA, like tell your sons, deal with Becky at your own risk.
Yes.
What do you think about that?
I absolutely agree. I think you've been talking about in the past financial, codes of conduct. I think is one of the phrases you were talking about. I think even in your interview with Dr. Claude Anderson, you all were talking about codes of conduct. Perhaps this needs to be a part of that, who you socialize with. And again, this is about, the scripture even says that bad company corrupts good morals. And I'm gonna go there for some of us because this is just wisdom. And so it doesn't matter if you're religious or not. It's about whether this is a truth or not. It's about, whether you can extract truth from a situation. And there is something that in Psalm 1 that says, blessed is the man that walks not with the ungodly. It doesn't take counsel from the ungodly or walk in the way of sinners. What does that say? There's a blessing that you can get in life just by who you avoid. You understand? There is a blessing that you are able to thrive in ways that you perhaps would not be just by who you avoid hanging out around. And that's in Psalm 1, verses 1, 2, and 3, just for references. And so I think that is absolutely something to that. It's very important. It's the same way, in the same way, if you avoid catch, how you avoid catching a cold. Like if you're on the plane and you decide that you're going to put a mask on, right? It's just like if you decide that you're going to take an extra dose of vitamin C, obviously, in preventing that. But when you stay away from certain things, that means what? You're not sick. That means you're able to thrive. That means you're able to do the things that you love. That means that you're able to be a contributing member of society because you're not ill just by what you're able to avoid. So I think what you're saying is absolutely right and good. Moreover, again, as you've said before, this is not about hating white people or disrespecting. It's about history, okay? It's about receipts. It's about learning from what has happened and what is happening right now. And that goes, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful because this is the truth, it goes to the nature of the folks that we're talking about and how we interact with them. We're paying attention to what happens. You will lie at the drop of a dime. You will make up something at the drop of a dime. You will, barbecue Becky's, y'all call them, and all this kind of, they will call the police on you and don't mind you going to prison. They will call knowing full well that you're very likely to get shot and something going on. I'm talking about pay attention to what's happening with these people that's calling the popos on you. And most of the time, it's overwhelmingly white women that's doing the calls, these baseless calls in the first place. So I'm saying, let's pay attention to the pattern of what's happening around us and look at the historical patterns that we see as well. It's just some common sense. It's just common sense, period, point blank, end of story. And let me say this really quick too, if I could, Dr. Boyce, real quick, on the Bill Cosby. The article, this is it's from the Associated Press, but Fox News was even reporting this. Listen to this. I just want you all to see how the whole system is guilty. You know, there's a hashtag that says the whole damn system is guilty because the system is in and of itself a damn system because it is rigged against us and it's certainly not meant to bring about justice. But listen to what this says, Doc. It says a fee dispute between actor Bill Cosby and one of the many law firms hired to address his legal problems shows that the Los Angeles firm alone was billing Cosby $1 million a month, which of course you discussed, in the run-up to his first sex assault trial. It goes on to talk about the fact that he was in prison. The imprisoned Cosby is challenging a California arbitration award that upholds nearly $7 million of the $9.2 million billed by Quinn Emanuel Urquhart, I don't know if that's how the proper pronunciation of the firm, and Sullivan for 9 months' work. Listen to this. Cosby, who's 81 right now, accused the firm in a petition Friday of elder abuse and egregious billing practices and a fraud for representing both him and the insurance company he was fighting in court. American International Group over this. It's so much more to this. The Quinn Emanuel team was led by a partner. It talks about who he was led by and all this other kind of stuff, how they billed him and built him all of this money. I want you all to think about this. He was not even aware that some of these settlements was going on. And then to find out the people that's representing you is also representing the opposing side in some instances. Come on, somebody. Somebody talk black to me. This is what we're trying to get you all to see. And guess what? Bill Cosby was hanging out a whole bunch of white folk. And the ones that's primarily taking him down right now, Doc, except for the interspersed, lightly melanated here and there that they done cleaned up and was half of them was drugged out in the first place, are primarily who? White people. And I'm just saying that this is about our survival as a people. This is about our thriving. And I also still believe that this has to do with the fact of them attacking the war chest in the Black community and the good that could have happened if he was able to fulfill some of the things that he was wanting to do, because he gave millions of dollars, Dr. Boyce, to historically Black colleges and universities. Now, we got to give him credit for that. He was doing a whole lot in that regard and even beyond that. But I have to say, we've got to be careful because this is an attack on the war chest, and you can only effectively wage a war, even if it's guerrilla war. And that is to say, we might not be, and this is what I love about you, Doc, and of course, what I so revere about the nation is that we don't believe in our littleness. We don't subscribe to the idea that because we appear to be outnumbered here in the United States, that it's hopeless for us, and we shouldn't take what we have in our hands to still try to operate as a nation within a nation, and to build and to do something for ourselves when we have evidence all around us of countries and nations and people, Dr. Boyce, who were successful in beating large armies using guerrilla warfare tactics. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of defeatist mentality is that? And in fact, I'm looking at people that say stuff like that as if you are part of white supremacy. You're telling us to give up and to give in and to not to even fight at all. And we haven't even come to really know what we're made of because we haven't dared tested it or unified or flexed our powers in its fullest. You feel what I'm saying? So that's just madness altogether.
Yeah. Well, you know, we don't have we have very low self-esteem as people. You know, as a community, we don't take pride in who we are. You know, like, so for example, some of y'all who are watching, if you're watching over here on Facebook or on the other YouTube channel, y'all can't see it, but actually y'all can see another one. But I have a flag, you know, for the Black Business School.
Yes.
And, you know, and our logo and has a panther on it, right? And the reason I do things like that is because, and I learned this actually from watching individuals like Minister Farrakhan and others, and just looking at how the world works, is that in order for you to really take pride in what you have and who you are and what you got, you've got to consider the use of symbolism in a productive way, so that you can know that what you got is valuable. Like, so you can't tell me, for example, you cannot convince me that the Black Business School is not one of the premier educational spots for Black people in the world.
I need my gavel.
Right. When I look at what we're teaching them, and I look at the level of expertise that I have and the other people that come in have, like, I've been at all the white schools. I've taught at Ohio State University, University of Kentucky, Indiana University. You go down the list, and those institutions are nice in their own way. They're good for their people. But when I look at what's best for our people in terms of what we need and solving our problems, there is nothing better than what we've got right here at home. You know, and so this is not me telling people how great or convincing you how great the Black Business School is. It's to say that there is a reason, there is a way you carry yourself when you have pride in what you got, when you are establishing institutions that are going to be just as powerful, just as relevant, just as important as the other institutions that are out there. Then what happens is, when you can see that value in advance, then that incentivizes you to invest in that thing. Nobody invests in something where they don't see any value. You know, that's why if you think about a young lady who gives herself away to a lot of different men, what's the first thing they say? Well, you don't value yourself, right? Because if she valued herself, then she would be more selective, right? She wouldn't see it as, well, I'm just so glad he let me come into his house. I'm so glad he's given me his time. No, you know, a woman who sees herself as a queen says, no, I will give you my time if I feel like you're worthy of that.
Come on now.
And I think that for Black people, we have been trained on a systematic level for hundreds of years to just be grateful that somebody wants us around, that you'll just have us. You know, thank you, Master, for just letting me come on your job and let me be around you. Thank you for letting me join your special club and all sorts of. And I just got to the point where I said, to hell with all of that. I'm letting all that go because you know, you can't tell me that we're not almost to the point of being genetically superior in certain ways. There's something about the melanin that makes us great.
Come on now.
Come on, Doc. And I mean, and it's just like, and you can't deny it. I mean, you look on the sports, watch the NBA playoffs, y'all. And look at what those brothers are doing in the play. You know, look at Black Girl Magic and what Black women are doing around the world. I mean,
yes.
So to me, it just kind of says, why would I, literally, I feel that being Black makes you like a walking diamond. And why would I, in all my value, all my power, all my glory, all my greatness, walk up behind you, taking orders from you, begging you?
Come on.
I mean, you got some good things, and we talk about other people's communities. They got some good things in their history in terms of things they've accomplished and empires they've built. But at the same time, they also got some pretty horrible things in their history, some pretty horrible cultural norms and habits. And my sadness is that because we get so dismantled at an early age, we can't see our own power. So we really want to be next to all of that. I don't want to be next to all of that. So I learned that when I started really valuing myself as a Black man, I really said, you know what, gosh, I really just want to be around Black people. because that's when I feel like I'm in a rich, extraordinary environment. When I'm not in that environment, I feel like I'm in a watered down environment, you know. So I'm in agreement with you on everything that you said, and I think that we got to know our power, and then that way we can deal with the oppressors and deal with all the other things that are coming at us. So Vicki, remind everybody one more time, where can people follow you, and what would you like for them to know about that you got going on?
Yes, well, flyingtobequeentv.com, the network for melanated women like you. Join me tonight in a couple of hours or so, in about 2.5 hours, again on flyingtobequeentv.com, where we're there. And my goal, of course, is always to inform and to inspire folk, our people. And we talk about, spiritual things sometimes, but certainly politics and current affairs related to Black people. They can follow me on Instagram at Vicki X Dillard, and pretty much everywhere else at Vicki Dillard. Now on Twitter, I'm there at Dillard Vicki, but I think if you just put in Vicki Dillard, my name should still pop up and you should be able to find it. But yes, that's what I'm up to. That's what I'm up to now. My goal is to continue to work to give good content and information to our people, and to be a voice in this time where I believe Black voices are so needed and necessary.
All right. Well, everybody, please hit the thumbs up button. Please give Vicki a digital round of applause. Thank you for coming into the house for intelligent Black people.
Thank you.
And everybody who's watching, please share these videos. And don't forget, we have Claude Anderson coming in on Powernomics Thursday. Miss Vicki Dillard comes in every Friday. And we got some other people that may be coming in, but I'll save them. They'll be a surprise for later on. So hit that thumbs up button, thumbs up. Please share this video. Also, if you'd like a free e-copy of my book, It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar, go to drboycewatkins.net. That's drboycewatkins.net. Last but not least, get your kids ready this summer. You can go get some financial flashcards for your kids if you'd like to. We invented them just for Black kids. That's at financialflashcards.com, and the workbooks are at financialworkbooks.com. So we're gone. See you guys later. And thank you very much, Vicki. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye now.